Hello, and welcome back to Jim's Monday Malt Samples. Yes, I'm back. I had never intended on being away, in fairness, but it was one of those things that I apologise. I took a bit of an impromptu staycation. We didn't go too far, but it was just nice to get a bit of a break. So I'm back now, and it's good to see. It is actually genuinely great to see a few of you in. Phil in early doors from Causeway Coast. He was in, I think, just to, multi-mission. Menno will be back. I think he was there and gone. Petehead Frank, good to see you. Greg's Whiskey Guy, good to see you, my friend. Greg, I haven't been in touch for a while. We will be in touch again. Graham Horner, one of my local Northern Irish men. Good to see you, buddy. And I would imagine there will be a few more. So, yes, we're back, and it's great to be back. And it's good to be back with a guest as well. Whiskey Pilgrim, Neil Laverty, Lee J. Brown, PJ McRae. The numbers are coming in now. Good to see you all, guys. It really is. Yes, it's good to be back, and good to be back with a guest. And it's good to be back with a guest who is, I'm going to say, a friend of mine. He might not say I'm a friend of his. I don't really care, but this guy and I have been in touch pretty much very, very early doors for me in my whiskey journey and in the whiskey community. And I'll say no more. Most of you know him anyway. And it's Stuart.
Hello.
From Whisky Whims. There he is.
How's it going? Yeah, I definitely say we're friends, mate. And we can be in touch as much as you like.
Well, within reason.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. And what I'd like to say, Stuart and I were talking about this earlier on. Yes, we're having a beer because it's what mates do whenever they get together, isn't it?
Brilliant.
So, yes, a few other guys actually has come in. Bishop Bernard Boy and Jimmy Jazz have come in as well.
Good to see them.
So, yes, good to see a few people in here. Yes, Stuart, how's it going?
Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Yeah, just getting along with things. Housework, nothing too interesting or fun really. Put some lawn seed down today. Brilliant.
Well, we'll not delve too deep into what you do, but we'll just say you work offshore. So
yeah.
Most of us that know you know what you do anyway. So it's not like as if it's a big secret.
No. Yeah, so I work away a lot of the time, so I've got a lot of time to spend drinking and getting acquainted with whiskey.
So when you're not at your AA meetings, you're just.
We don't speak about the AA meetings unless we're in the AA meeting.
Anyway, sorry, just there's a couple of guys. Raymond Montgomery, a good friend of mine. Even Raymond Cresimere is in. So great to see so many in. And the reason why Stuart has come along this evening is, Stuart, and you have been the one who not only shared this whiskey with me, but you shared the you've been a big fan of this whiskey for a while. Yeah. I know you have. Yeah. There's a lot of big fans out there, but it's very hard to get. And it's Daftmill.
Yep, sure is Daftmill. Yes. I have one bottle. The other bottle's dead, as we discussed earlier. So I've only got this one at the moment.
I seen that poor bottle getting killed off yesterday. But yet again, I was telling my wife this earlier on, that it's the generosity in it, because so rare, so hard to get, this Daftmill. And I said to her, you were putting pictures on Instagram and all of the amount of it that you were sharing out, and mate, I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Like,
no bother.
Some that's as rare as this, and you're quite happy to fire it out. And then was it your brother's 30th or something like that, and you were giving it away as well.
Yeah, so it was my brother's 30th. It's this Thursday, so we had a surprise party on Saturday, and I brought this with the intention, or the 2007 one with the intention of killing it. And there was a good couple drams left, and Stevie was there, and my other brother who kind of drinks whiskey, and my other brother whose 30th it was, who drinks Jack Daniels. So I was like, I'll just give it to everybody. So I gave it to like all my uncles and that. One guy, one of my uncles is about 80 odd. He's like my mum's uncle, so he had it, even though he can probably never taste it. But I was like, give it to everybody. Let them try it.
Well, happy day. And what did they think?
I mean, some of them just some of them kicked it back like it was a shot, so that was a bit hard to see that go down. But I mean, my dad, he's not a big whiskey drinker, but he seemed to get a lot of flavours out of it, which must kind of show the quality of the whiskey if even my dad's able to get flavours from it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not, just in case anybody thinks this is actually a Clynelish 14, just in case. I'm just warming the palate up. A few others, sorry, Macallan Fine and Rare is in, Whisky Straight Al is in. Good to see so many in. Bud Jenkins.
Yeah, good to see everyone. Thanks for joining us.
So yes, you and I were talking about this. So let's give us a bit of history on you first. Why not? Because there might be those, I would say there probably is those out there.
Yeah.
Because you're pretty much Facebook, or sorry, YouTube, most predominantly YouTube, Instagram.
Yeah.
So give us a bit of history about Whisky Whims, mate.
Aye, so like I said, obviously, with working away, I was finding myself a bit bored during the days. I mean, I had housework and stuff, but you don't want to do that all your time. So I was sitting there and something that kind of stopped me going to the pub or anything like that. I was like, oh, I'll drink whiskey during the day. That'll be a lot safer. But yeah, it was something to do. I had a passion for it. Probably my girlfriend's dad, Stevie, he probably just did help me push over the edge and get into it. So yeah, it started from quite a young age, to be honest. Probably before the legal drinking age is when I got into whiskey. But that's fine in Scotland. The legal drinking age for whiskey is like 12-year-old. Yeah. So yeah, and then I think it was November or October 2018, I decided to start Instagram and do YouTube. Nerve-wracking as hell, as you probably know, doing your first kind of video and that, even though you're not actually in front of people, but it was just putting it out there and seeing what feedback you're getting. Just nervous, really. And even to this day, still nervous in front of camera. But yeah, I've went through the start where I used to buy fancy whiskies with fancy boxes, thinking they were the best. And then I started learning a little bit more about, obviously, your chill filtration, your added colouring, your cask strengths, and all that good stuff. And yeah, started spending my money, hopefully, a little bit more wisely.
But you're a young man, like, and you know, I'll not give away ages, but I mean, you're still well, you know, most people that are in this room, there's people in this room probably with 3 times your age, and it's one of those things that this was the bit that impressed me, was your knowledge so early on, and then you said something at one point that actually gave your age away, and I couldn't believe it. I was a bit. Now I'm not saying you look like an old man, but
it's the hair.
It's the hair and the sea air.
Or the whack off.
But it was just, I just couldn't believe. I actually, to the point where I was actually saying to people, I can't believe how much this guy knows about whiskey at his age. Like, and I know you said it, and I know Stevie's. This is your girlfriend's father is a great guy. Like, I follow Stevie on Instagram, and he knows his stuff. But I think, and I'm maybe generalizing a wee bit, but I think you boys are, what impress or what I like is where you are at. It's your physical locality, because I realized that living in Scotland gives you access to an awful lot more good Scotch whiskey than living outside of Scotland.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially with distilleries like Deanston and Glengoyne pretty much on my doorstep. I mean, 20-minute, 40-minute drive at times. You can just go pop off to a distillery, and if you want a hand-filled whiskey from Glengoyne, you could probably do it there and then, as long as the cask is there. But like you said, even in the supermarkets, I mean, the amount of whiskies you're getting in there, I'm assuming that you just don't get like Tullibardine in your supermarkets over there, probably, or do you?
You could pick up the Tullibardines and the Sainsbury's.
So yeah, I was wondering that, if it was like we can get them in, obviously, like Asda and Tesco and that. But yeah, I appreciate the kind words about my knowledge. I wouldn't say I'm the most knowledgeable. I think I know roughly enough to blag my way through an interview if someone asked me about whiskey.
I think perhaps because you went in, it didn't seem to, this is me surmising, that it didn't do you any harm that you went in with some of the real good stuff. And I think to a certain extent, you got burned by some of the good stuff. I'm going to suggest,
Yeah.
I'm not being cheeky when I say that, but you and I have had this discussion about the Dalmores and stuff like that there, where, you know, you probably spent too much on a whiskey early on because it was expensive. It was expected to be good.
Yeah.
And as, you know, because I still would suggest, not even suggesting, you know more about whiskey than I do, without any doubt. And it's that thing that as you've progressed, you've realized that some of these that you've spent a little too much money on weren't worth the money. Like,
I think probably everybody goes through it at one point. Some people might still be stuck in it, expecting that the more expensive the better. But yeah, it definitely helped me kind of learn from the mistakes for sure. I mean, some of them I was buying and I thought like the fancy packaging, the price of it, I was like, oh, it's just got to be good. Then you try and you're like, it's all right if I'd better for cheaper. But I definitely had. I mean, I think one of the drams I always go on about was the Glendronach 33-year-old that Stevie let me first try, and that was £200 he bought it for or something. Pricey for when he bought it, but it was absolutely amazing. So I kind of expected that almost every £200 whiskey would be that good. And like I said, what you mentioned with the Dalmore King Alexander, that was 130, I think I paid for it, and that's piss water. I mean,
well, yeah, all right, it is.
I mean, it's all over the place. There's some Dalmores I've liked. I mean, I had the Lucio from the travel retail exclusive, and that's only 40%. It's got added colouring, but you know what? I quite enjoyed it, and I think that was only £50. But
well, that's I was actually going to reverse. Sorry, I'm falling apart here. I was going to actually reverse a bit and say that. But sorry, just before I do, Peter Hunt, Luna Aaron come in, Whiskey Bonds in, Alan McLaughlin. Sorry, that I've been taught a lesson by those who know what they're talking about. It took me to listen and to pay attention, and yourself included. People, and I include that people who know what they're talking about. And there's a man in here actually who's a prime example, Greg's Whiskey Guide, and it's people that share samples of stuff that it's not that I wouldn't touch, but just I'm a bit dubious about them because they're maybe old, and with age comes softness, and you're getting back, and you know what I'm saying, where a lot of times that age doesn't exactly add on to it, doesn't take anything away, but it's changing it, you know. And I learned that you have to open your palate and open your mind and go, well, hold on here. It might be harder to find what's going on, but that's no bad thing. Like,
I mean, I think you're right with age. I mean, sometimes there can be like too much wood and things. It's took too much of the barrel or whatever. I mean, I think it was a couple weeks ago. Sorry, I done an old and rare tasting, and there was some like 38-year-old whiskies in there. There was 27-year-olds and all these aged whiskies, and I was just trying them. I was like, these are all so bland. they're like 600 or whatever, £400 a bottle, and I'm thinking, just give me a nice raw, dirty Springbank.
See, this is the thing, because I think sometimes we get so used to everything being shouty now, don't we? You know, when you get things at cask strength all the time, or you and especially now that the prices on a lot of cask strength whiskies are starting to come down a bit to the point where they're certainly affordable, but you know, and funny, Macallan Fine and Rare has said a thing here: with age comes price, and that's what happens. Price goes up. Flavor, I'm not going to say flavor goes down, but it becomes more subtle, more complex, and you have to start, and you know, especially if you and I like our peat, if you're a peat head, age is not your friend then.
Doesn't really matter, no.
No, so you know, this is why, and I've actually put my nose even in these Daftmills, and the nose is so subtle on them.
Oh yeah, these are subtle as these are probably as subtle as they come. They are quite, and I mean, there's sometimes, I don't know, sometimes age isn't everything, obviously, and maybe you do need to spend longer with the older whiskies and take your time. But yeah, I don't know what I was going to say. I just feel like sometimes older whiskies are just too bland for me.
Yeah,
But I might just be a cop out.
no, I actually, yet again, it's actually going back to Greg's Whiskey Guide and what because, and it's this, and I don't want to go into, I'm not going to go into a Bushmills beating. I've done that too often. It's because Bushmills bottling stuff at 40%, and even stuff of age at 40%, and it's bad enough that the older it's getting, it's maybe getting softer and subtle and all that there. But if you look for if you've got time and you want to, I think that's the thing. Take the time, put the effort in, and look for the complexity in it. It just becomes incredible then.
Yeah.
But I agree with you too as well that sometimes you just want something shouty.
Yeah, I think it depends. It obviously depends on the whiskey you're exploring. Some might just be bland over time, and some might partake like loads of flavors, impart loads of flavors. I suppose it's the spirit and obviously the cask used. But I mean, I suppose that's also the best thing about like having people around you who can send you samples. I mean, I've had some samples that have been given to me and they've been rather generous, and I'd probably never bought it, like you said, myself. But I've managed to try it, and then there's others like I think I sent you the Dalmore King Alexander. It's good now that we're in this day and age because I feel like 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, possibly not 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, you wouldn't had this infrastructure where people would be sending each other drams.
No.
I know back in Stevie's day, like obviously he never had anything like that. So to be able to, obviously you could always buy samples at bars and stuff, but to be able to actually send samples and make your own mind up on them before purchasing it, I think it's brilliant. And that's probably why I sent you the Dalmore King Alexander. Not because I wanted to get rid of it, just because I wanted to open your eyes up and
100%. Yeah, I just, it's something that, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll get onto these Daftmills in a minute. But that was, I fell in love with the whiskey community before I fell in love with whiskey.
Right.
Because I didn't realize that there was people out there like that. And it just, it just, like, I wouldn't have bought the whiskies that I bought had it not been for people sending me samples and saying, here, try this. Honestly, I love it. And I think part of the reason a lot of the time is, for me, if I fall in love with something so quickly, I want everybody to try it then.
Yeah, that's it. That's the thing.
And I wouldn't even have been sold on, yet again, going back to Bushmills, I just knocked everything that the Bushmills were putting out the water and just said, no, it's just boring. It's everything. And a friend of mine went to the effort, who was in here earlier on, went to the effort of buying me a bottle of the 10-year-old and have it posted to my door without me knowing it. I just opened the door and there was a guy standing there with a box, and it was a case of I didn't order anything, and that's what it was. And and it just was a case of, look, if you love the thing, why keep it to yourself? Like,
totally agree. I mean, that is the same with that Lefroy 27. I bought that for a special occasion, and that cost me a little bit. And I tried it, and I think it's absolutely amazing. I still definitely think I maybe got biased because I spent a bit of money on it, and it has got pretty packaging, a wooden box, and that. But I think the product is still really good. So I've sent that out a few times. Also done competitions and that, but it's just because, like you said, we want people to try stuff. And what I'll find is I'll end up going through a bottle a lot quicker. Obviously, if I enjoy it because I'm drinking it, but because I'm sending it out to so many people, like the Daftmill 2007. For me, luckily, I have another bottle up in the loft, but I ended up going through that quicker than I did the 2008, and the 2007 was bought months later, and it was just because I wanted so many people to try it. And like you said, it's hard to get your hands on.
I know, and at the same time, you just want sometimes you want the thing to last forever too, don't you? That's the
nightmare. You get like a little dribble left.
and you just know that whiskey's not getting any better the longer it's sitting in there, but you just said, oh, well, I'll finish it someday.
Please go, grow, just grow.
This is me with Kilkerran, and I discovered recently there's actually an off license in Northern Ireland that sells Springbank and
Brilliant.
Campbelltown West. You know, and I walked in. Phil has told me about them before. Fairley's off license, but I just pictured an off license that if you walked in and said,
Yeah.
"Can you get me?" Well, then they could get you.
Right.
But
Do it
no,
for you, yeah.
I walked in and they were all lined up behind the counter. The 12-year-old, the 8-year-old, the heavily painted, the Springbank 12-year-old, etc. So I'll be coming back for a visit in a couple of weeks' time and empty some of those shelves for them a bit. But it's just, I just love the fact that these things are available, but at the same time, as I say, whenever you do get them and you get down to that level, oh, horrible.
Oh, I know.
Anyway, Daftmill.
Yes, Daftmill. Why we're here.
Why we're here. Yes. So now the Daftmill distillery, sort of, you were heading north from Edinburgh out to St Andrews. It's sort of on a point out there.
Aye. See, I wouldn't. Well, aye. We'll say yes. Yes, you've probably always you've definitely looked at the locale. I would just say that I'd head on this road and drive to it.
Aye, well, no, I mean, you know your stuff, but so
it's in Cooper, which is in Fife.
It is. Yes, it's just that's right. It's
the kingdom of Fife.
Kingdom of Fife.
So yeah, it's literally. Yeah, you drive up one of the main roads in Cooper as you're heading towards Cooper, and there's a farm road off to the right, and it just says Daftmill Farm Estate or something like that. You would never expect there to be a distillery. I don't think he's got a Daftmill distillery sign up. Pretty sure it just says Daftmill Farm Estate. And you drive up this. Yeah, go on.
Is it a bit like Wolfburn? It's just a shed, like a sort of cattle shed sort of thing, or?
I suppose it's not really well. His still house is pretty. He's kind of done that up a bit nice, and It's got a kind of a long, big window, like from ground to floor almost. But originally it was probably a cattle shed. I can't remember what it was originally used for. He did tell me. I'm just terrible with remembering things. The drink doesn't help. But you go up, you go up the farm road, and it's beautiful. All the barley's growing, all his own barley, green fields, and it's just beautiful all the way up. And then you get to the farmhouse where his house is, and his house is literally right across the distillery. So he could, if he wanted a little, or if he even the warehouse, if he wanted a little nip, he could just walk to his warehouse and get a little nip.
So it's pretty much farm to glass then. I mean, is he?
Yeah. So I believe. So what he does is, I'm pretty sure he harvests all his barley and all that good stuff. He sends it away for malting because he doesn't have the facilities. He gets all his barley back, and he's assured that it's his barley, his malt, and then he does it all from there. Ages it in his own warehouse, and then I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. No, I'm almost certain Berry Bros. Is it Berry Bros and Rudd? I think they bottle it for him.
They do, yes.
Yeah.
I did look. I did see that earlier on, right enough.
So
because it's even through Berry Brothers and Rudd, it's still
sold. Yeah.
It doesn't show up even on their website anymore.
Yeah, well, when I went to visit the distillery, he had a couple bottles on the shelf, and I was like, "Would it be cheeky to ask if I could buy a bottle?" And he says, "Oh, I don't have a license to sell," so he couldn't even sell a bottle if he wanted to. But yeah, it's the farm's his primary income. The distillery's a passion, and it'll probably soon become, I don't know, it might become his main income, but the farm definitely. I think he used to send a lot of his barley and malt to like Macallan, Glenfiddich, and then he realised, like, why the hell am I doing this? I'll just make my own stuff.
Yeah. So what's he working with? Is he just working with a couple of stills, or is he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just got 2 stills. He's got, like, his equipment's quite new, to be fair. I mean, I think he just got his license in 2005. So the safe, you should see compared to like the Springbank safe, the Spirit safe, it's immaculate. It's like it's honestly it's like brand new, yeah. But yeah, I think all the stuff was made in Rosyths. I'm trying to think of the name, Fourths of Rosyth or something. But yeah, everything's pretty brand new, and the community, a lot of the local workers and that helped build it. So he employed a lot of local workers, so it's quite good. Yeah, it's a nice place, and if you ever get the chance, if you're ever in Scotland,
Yeah, no. Oh well, here I'll get back to that in a second. Sorry, just whiskey or Graham Horner was asking. It was Fairley's and Coleraine, mate. Fairley's distillery or
All right.
Fairley's, and there was a few others. Sorry, come in. Drew from
Yep.
Arizona was in, and just Whiskey Jason's in. Yes, this is Whiskey Quest is in as well. Antonio, good evening. No, I just find it incredible. So would you consider it craft then? Would it be considered a craft distillery?
I mean, it's almost like a microbrewery. If you craft, it's got to be craft. I mean, it's so small. The storage facility's got enough for storage in that, but it's mental. It's you wouldn't expect it.
So what's his name again? Sorry,
Francis.
Okay. Francis. I'm sure Francis doesn't care what the distillery is called. Like, at the end of the day, I get the impression that he's a guy that is just out to make good whiskey. Doesn't matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Daftmill. I think they've owned the farm. I'm trying to think their second name. Is it Cuthbert? It's got it on here. Cuthbert. I'm not sure you say it. But yeah, I think the family's owned the farm for a long time, maybe 200 years or something like that. So I think probably having Daftmill in the bottle does have some sentimental value. But with regards to the whiskey itself, I think what he said to me was he was making it to kind of suit his palate, and he kind of liked the style of Rosebank, so he wanted to create a lowland whiskey that was in that kind of same profile, but not obviously the exact same. So he's a whiskey enthusiast as well, or a whiskey drinker. So he's making it for himself to drink, and he's enjoying it with everybody else, I suppose.
It's got the most beautifully soft, sweet, subtle nose.
I've smelt a lot of good whiskies, and like Springbank's obviously my favourite distillery. Daftmill comes close because see the nose, and I think I was saying this to Matt, the Worm Tub. He sent me the Daftmill sample from Luvians. They had a single cask, and I preferred the nose over the palate. The nose that you get from this is so fragrant. I don't know how he does it. It's just absolutely beautiful.
It is. It's lovely. It is. It's just so. It's slightly floral, slightly sweet, slightly, but
without trying to dig myself a hole or something. And I'm not saying anything against. In fact, no, I better not say it. It's just.
No, say it. Go on.
No,
nobody's here. Nobody's listening.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
suppose. No, I can't. I don't know. All right, I'll put it this way: if Springbank on the nose was to be the macho man of the nose, Daftmill would be the nice, flamboyant campness of the nose, and that's what I love about it. It's so camp, it's so fragrant. It's just there's no other way to describe it than beautiful and lovely.
Well, you want to say it's a ladies' whiskey, don't you? But
no, I wouldn't say that. No,
no, I only have the laugh. No, mate, listen,
I enjoy it too much for it to be a ladies' whiskey.
Cressimir's asking, any chance they will increase their production capacity? Well, I suppose yes.
I mean,
now here, this is one thing. Sorry, I don't think we even said what this was. This is the 2007 winter edition.
Yeah, so this is so I think I don't know if it was. I think the barley's from winter. I might be wrong with that, but yeah, it's bourbon from a couple casks. There's 1,690 bottles, and it's 46% ABV. I mean, yeah, floral shirt and a good lass, pretty much. It's
actually, and I mean, this is why. Sorry, Luna, I really didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to say anything, Luna, like that. I didn't mean it like that, but it's gentle, it's floral, it's beautiful. It's
not say a woman's whiskey. It's like it's a feminine. It's like feminine whiskey. It's very elegant. Yeah. It's very if you were to be generic, that's what you'd say. It's like it's almost perfumey.
I agree. I totally agree.
And it's just it's beautiful.
Very like subtle.
If my missus was to wear this to bed. I get. All right, cheers. Slanger.
Even in the palate, it's subtle.
Yeah. I mean, on the nose, I'm getting peaches, something pastry like. I feel like I don't know if you ever had the buns from IKEA, like a cinnamon. It's like a
Yes,
cinnamon
it's
bun. But
they're I'll tell you about that. It's and my wife would know the name of it, and I'm not going to rush out of the room here and ask her. It's the one, it's even those Turkish
yeah,
buns that you
I can't know
get in
what they're called.
IKEA. Yeah. Somebody will come in with this. The ones with like the different they make them in different ways where they're spun almost because there is a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Ah man, I'm as bad as you with
I know I'm the worst. Anyway, there's apple and pear, and I think on the nose it's a little grassy, but not in the sense that it feels young.
hmm,
I don't know,
no
maybe
no, I'm going
herbally.
baklava. That's
That's it,
exactly what it was.
baklava. That's what it's like. It's like cinnamon baklava.
Yeah.
The palate's just, I feel like the palate quite oily.
That's bizarre. It really is like baklava. That is bizarre. And it hangs around for ages.
Mm. More
Hmm.
peach on the palate for me.
Mm-hmm.
Roasted almonds, possibly.
Hmm.
Digestive biscuits. And still, it's quite creamy. Obviously, the bourbon influence is there. It's
It
just,
is creamy.
honestly, I love it. I
It is
can't,
creamy.
I don't want to, I never want to be too over enthusiastic about whiskey because
And
someone will
it's
always hate it.
when was this bottled?
Oh, I need, let me just check. So it was bottled 2020, so it's 12-year old. And I
So it's
think the other
actually
one's the
bottled
same.
this year.
Yeah, bottled
No, is
2020.
that the 2008 you're talking about?
No,
Or
the
are we talking?
2007.
Ah, that is the 2007. Because it's weird because it is actually the reason I'm asking is it's quite spirity at the back, as
I
in
know. I think that's once we get on to 2008, that probably maybe the difference. But the 2008 was bottled 2019, so it might be 11 or
mhm.
I don't think it's oh, it might be 12 as well actually. I think they're both 12-year-old. But yeah, there is a little bit spirity.
Well, the reason
Um
when I say spirity, it's like that sweetened baklava as we were talking about, but it's almost like a the sweets. What have you done to me? I can't. I'm usually I'm usually very good with words.
I know you're usually quite snappy with them. You usually get them straight every time. But it's me, it's my
uh,
presence.
it's liqueurs, chocolate liqueurs,
Right.
and you know they become quite spirited at the back. You know where that
Ah, yeah,
spirit
yeah.
sort of hides itself, and then all of a sudden it's quite and that's weird because I don't think I've found that in too many whiskies, but it's yet again it seems to be a thing of passion for Francis. And
Yeah. I mean, I think he knows. I asked him there and then. I was like, how the hell do you learn to do this? How do you know which cask to put with which cask? He was like, it's just well. Initially, he said it's experience, and I
mhm,
was like, is it just experience? He was like, well, I'm just putting them together until I find what I like, basically. So I was like, fair enough.
happy days,
I would
definitely.
I would do the same. I would do the complete same, and it obviously works because, well, I mean, it might be a kind of flipper's dream because they're limited, and that's maybe a part of why they sell. But at the same time, you have so many people who open them,
Mhm.
um, and they're obviously enjoyed by the people who open them. And there's a kind of I wouldn't say a cult following. It is a proper following of the distillery.
It's nice to see actually that yet again, uh, Instagram I think is a great tool because people show open bottles and drinks and glasses. And yeah, again, this is another thing that I know you've always been a proponent of: open your balls, and I totally agree.
Yeah,
And as I say, whenever you see the Daftmills coming around and you see a bottle with a glass with the Daftmill in it and the bottle opening, it just does the heart good to know that somebody is
yeah,
experiencing that.
definitely. I mean, I'll try. If I do see it, I'll always try and share it on my story. just for the sake of like well done, it's brilliant, you've opened your bottle. I
Mhm.
mean, I think it was once again because of Jason from Malt Review, like he obviously done that hashtag open your bottles, and it kind of struck a chord with me, and I was like, you should be. I mean, I can understand people putting things away for investments, maybe a rainy day and that. I can completely understand it.
Aye.
But if you're really passionate or if you really enjoy whiskey to the point that you like tasting it, then just get them open, get them tasted, and share them out, get them done.
So I've just added a little water, and I mean, yeah, well, it depends on who you follow, Phil, doesn't it?
Yeah,
But he's
I wrote.
100% right.
I know. Well, recently actually as well. I think it was once again. I saw Jason post about it. I'm becoming a bit of a Jason fanboy tonight. Uh, I saw Jason post about it, and it was. I think he went
Paying for
through a
his
kind of
wages.
yeah. I think he went through a kind of culling of people on Instagram, and I kind of looked at my own Instagram and done the same almost, and it was people with unopened bottles. I mean, there's a lot of people I follow who've got unopened bottles, but you can see they obviously open a lot of bottles. But there was people
Hmm.
who was unopened bottle after unopened bottle, and I was just looking at them and I was like, oh yeah, that's a lovely shot, but are you even actually like, trying it? And I started commenting on a few people, so I was like, how's it taste? Like, oh, I don't know, I've not opened it yet. I was like, well, what are you doing? Get it open.
It's an argument, or not an argument, but a debate that I get into recently uh, about a friend of mine here in Northern Ireland who has a collection of 250 bottles of whiskey, that he keeps telling me about.
Right,
And he asked me at one point, have you tried the new something? Can't remember what it was. He only really drinks Irish whiskey, so he's
right.
broken. But
I didn't say
but
it.
but he he says, have you tried such and such? And I asked, and I says, no, but have you? And he said, no, but I've got 3 bottles of it. And this is the
Oh,
sort of thing. I mean, and it's like I just walk away in disgust at that. It's like,
yeah,
don't you're not a whiskey fan if you own 250 unopened bottles of whiskey. Now, I'm sure there's people who'll shut me down for saying that, because there's those that'll say that I mean, Alan, the whiskey friend, has got a fine collection
yeah,
of unopened
yeah,
bottles
yeah,
behind him, but the man's still trying plenty of whiskey, and
yeah.
still fit to talk about whiskey. So there's a balance somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, they're
But,
obviously. I mean, I know someone who he does the same pretty much. I mean, I've even seen him like have 5 of the same bottle. And it's a bit shameful for other people who want to get them and maybe can't get their hands on them. But I think his philosophy that he said to me was he'll buy 3, one to definitely drink and basically tan, finish it completely.
mhm.
If he enjoys it that much, he'll open another one, and if not, he's got something for the future. And I mean, you can kind of see everybody's not in the same position, whether it be like money or whatever. And if they want to use that
Yep.
as a kind of bank, then fair enough. But you're never going to get rid of it. It's the same with like cars and that. People flipping cars. It's just a shame that obviously people who want the whiskey to drink it can't get it, and that's the only thing that pisses me or ticks me off
Aye,
with it. I probably shouldn't swear as much.
yeah. No, you're 100% right, but that is the one thing that you know that's the one thing that you're 100% right, because I mean, like Whiskey Jason's asking the question here, well, 350 balls, 200 open balls. That's not what I mean.
Aye,
What we mean is the buying up and the buying up and not opening anything. It's
yeah,
you're literally buying to sell on at a later date.
yeah. I mean,
And
aye.
I had right. Uh,
Got you started
Eckland,
now.
you've got me started now. Ecklandville and Daftmill are a prime example of this. If you don't mind me asking, what did you pay for, or can you remember what you paid
Yeah.
for a bottle of the Daftmill as it was released?
So I do remember. So the 2007, which was the 2021. So I came out 2020. I got the first one for £95. And what happened? It wasn't I was greedy and wanted another one. This is my excuse.
Oh, no, no,
What
no.
happened? No, what happened was it was one of those things where I had kind of said, "Oh, can you get me a bottle? Can you get me a bottle?" to so many different people, and 2 ended up getting back to me, and I was like, you know what? I kind of felt bad. I was like, I'll just say to both of them, I'll have them both.
Aye.
So I got them both, and one was 95, one was 110, which was a little bit more, and I don't know. I maybe shouldn't have paid that much, but I did. And the 2008, I'm pretty sure that was about 95 as well, which is a lot for a 12-year-old, 46%. But then it is limited release, and for me personally, I think the liquid is worth it.
Well, then here's what I'm going to. Here's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
Ecklandville Distillery in Newtownards here in Northern Ireland. I'm going to set the 2007 aside because I want to relax and let it settle away. I'll get back to it later. Ecklandville just the weekend released 310 bottles of a 12-year-old Dunville's.
Yeah.
Cask strength, right? £112. Now, yeah, it's 310 bottles. So it's limited.
It's very limited, yeah.
It's very limited, but it's not their whiskey, right? It's sourced.
Yeah.
So it's a cask of some that they've bought off. I'm not going to name any names because I know where it came from. But I'm not
somewhere.
I've really dug a big hole for myself here. But I fully understand that they're trying to make a buck, you know. But it's a 12-year-old, somebody else's whiskey.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think that's pushing it, because there are those in here, you and I included, who know that North Star recently released a 40-year-old whiskey. Okay, it's not cask strength, but you go 40 years, you're not going to get cask strength.
Or not aye. You might get cask strength, but not aye.
I'll not, but it'll certainly not be anything over sort of 50%. But yes, it's a blended year, but it's still a 40-year-old whiskey for under £120.
Yeah.
And I just think to myself, look, there's that's just putting the arm in here, you know, and granted, 310 bottles sold out in 6 minutes or less. So fair play to Ecklandville. They had their market. They made their sales.
Yeah.
They've got it. But I just think to myself, well, you've made a name for yourself. Well, you haven't really. You've taken somebody else's name, because Dunville's is an old Belfast whiskey. And sorry. I really don't want to dig a big hole for myself here. But it just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
And yet I said this to you earlier about where you're at. Scotland, to me, has a better idea of where prices are at. Some of them get in there, some of them put the arm in. And I know the other thing that I know is Ireland, the duty that is placed on bottlings in Ireland is ridiculous. I know this through speaking to distilleries personally. But it just, I don't know. For me personally, whenever I see, and even that off license I was talking about earlier on in Northern Ireland was selling most of those Scotch whiskies at the price that they were being sold at in Scotland. And this is what I think is so impressive, that you can buy a bottle of Kilkerran, absolute quality whiskey, for £45. Well, I
think the thing with Kilkerran is, and I love it so much, is I feel like it's almost an anomaly to compare anything to. I found myself doing it myself, like comparing like the heavily peated batch 1 and batch 2 and all that good stuff, and even the 12-year-old. But I think they are such an anomaly because, well, I don't know. I think it's hard to compare things to, because I just feel like Kilkerran. Well, I don't want to say they're underselling themselves.
No, I actually have to apologise, because I do exactly the same. Because what did I do? I didn't really have any money, but I still walked away with a bottle of the heavily peated batch 2 because I just couldn't at that, that price.
Can't. At that price, you can't. I think like what you're saying with the Daftmill, for what it is, it's expensive. If you were to say to someone, I've got a 12-year-old whiskey, it's bottled at 46%. It's got, well, even I suppose the 1,760 bottles, it's £95 while you buy it. They'll probably say, that's pretty expensive. But then I don't know, what comes along with the Daftmill, maybe the name, or even the passion, the story behind it. People should know that they're going to get quality. Like, I don't think you'll get run of the mill bog standard stuff. You're going to get something special, and I've never had it before. I've maybe talked about it before. I don't know if you've heard me talk about it before, but I only had one instance where I got goosebumps from a whiskey, and it sounds very sad to say, but it was actually a Daftmill. I think it was the United Kingdom single cask release. I can't remember what it was, if it was independent bars, or I've got a photo of it on my phone anyway. And I had it at the pot still, and I remember sitting down when I took a sip, and I was like, "What the hell's happening?" Like, I honestly got goosebumps like this, and it wasn't even the fact that I don't know what it was. It was just amazing. I wouldn't have said it was like the best whiskey I've had, but it just felt like the smell. It must have been the best whiskey I had because of what it gave me. But maybe it was just the hype of getting a Daftmill. It just felt good.
Well,
maybe because I'd visited distillery or what, I don't know.
Time and place as well, mate. As you know,
Aye,
this is the thing, because I get that with Springbank 21 in Edinburgh, and
right.
just where you physically do things that you didn't expect to do with taking a sip of a drink.
Yeah,
it's just a sip of a drink. What why am I doing
yeah.
this? But as Phil,
It transports you almost.
it does, and yeah, again, as Phil says, it environment and friends
Yeah,
help.
definitely.
And and as the doc says, context very important. So
Yeah, yeah. I suppose it's probably the. Sorry, I'm just fixing the camera. It's probably the company I was with,
but
and
but
all that
but
stuff.
it still takes a good whiskey.
No, it does.
You
There
know
we go.
now. Well, yet again, and I'm going back. I'm actually reversing a bit, but Charlie McLean said that I mean, one of the best ones he had was something that was a cheap blend, but it was the
Right.
company and what had happened on the day, etc.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I can understand that. Like I was saying, obviously about how I enjoyed the Dalmore Lucio. I mean, I had that at my brother's wedding in a flask, so maybe that's why I enjoyed it so much and have
Mhm.
those memories of enjoying it so much. Um, but yeah, you sniffing the 2008 now,
I'm
are
on the
you?
2008. Sorry, I had to just. Sorry, Lee J Brown has just had to. So good night, Lee J. No, that 2008. That's weird because it's a totally different thing to me.
See, yeah, I feel like I get a lot of. I feel like this is quite similar. Um, I mean, there's subtle differences, but I feel like it's quite similar. But for me, for some reason, even though it's similar flavors, similar for me, the similar scents, I feel like this is the winner, the 2008.
I'd say it's sweeter.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really get honey as much on the 2007, but I feel like there's a lot more honey on this one. Why is my camera only showing me one side?
That's a good side. Don't worry about
I
it.
don't think I have a good side. Right, come on, here we go.
See, there's a few people coming in here.
Right,
Sorry, saying that sorry, Whiskey Quest. Good night, Antonio. Peter Hunt is saying that it was an Imperial 1997 on the Royal Mile. I was somewhere in the Royal Mile. I had the Jolly Judge in the Royal Mile.
uh,
I had it, and so he had his goosebump moment. For Phil, it was Method and Madness 28-year-old. So it definitely does happen.
it is a
Lunaran.
thing, and it's not just me.
Oh no, definitely not. And it's well, Roy calls them epiphany moments to a certain extent,
Right,
and I don't know whether that's what he's always meaning when he talks about epiphany moments, but certainly there's whiskies that just like that, and as you said,
yeah.
you're 100% right. Kilkerran, Springbank aren't great places to compare because they are a bit
For
special
me,
for you and I
aye,
anyway.
aye. For me, and I find this hard because even like Glen Scotia, like I don't mind Glen Scotia. I think it's okay. But for me, there's nothing. I might be wrong in saying this, but for me, there's nothing like Springbank and what it provides I don't want this to be a bloody Springbank love fest, but I mean,
no.
you've obviously got like the three different whiskies from the same distillery. I mean, your long row you could maybe compare to Lechek or Lincheg, however you want to say it. But I mean, yeah, for me it just provides a lot more, and just the overall funkiness. I know you get kind of funk in Glen Scotias and things like that, but I don't know. Especially now that they've got a Kilkerran in that, there's nothing to lose.
No, 100%. No, that's nice. It's a nice subtle. Yet again, slightly sweeter than I would say than 2007.
Yeah. So I've got my notes here.
Go
And
ahead.
one thing that's different is I've put it's a lot more clean and crisp. I don't know if that means, in a sense, if I'm kind of meaning it's more kind of engineered almost.
No, I know what you mean. Yep.
Whereas I'm not saying that the 2007 is raw, but this one just feels a bit more kind of precise, if that makes sense. It's creamy again, peaches. It's got the orchard fruits. I feel the apple and pear, but I think there's an addition of kiwi and Parma violets with this one.
Yep, definitely the apple and pear. And it's got, when you're saying about it feeling cleaner and fresher, when you go back to the 2007, that's why I sort of held a wee bit. It almost feels like as if it's got a wee bit more age. It's not a dunnage smell or something like that. You know, it's not, but you know what? Well, it actually is. It is an almost.
It's like that. It's almost dusty.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, no. That's right. The 2008 definitely does feel fresher.
Yeah, crisper, definitely.
Yeah. Cheers.
Sanja.
Oh yeah, that's the winner.
It's got to be for me. I don't know why. It just is.
No, it's.
You know what? I think
I've said that. Sorry, I've said this before. It's mouth watering. I like mouth watering whiskies.
Aye. And it's gutting because I don't have another bottle of this. I'm fuming. I wish I had 2 of this. That's all I've got left.
Anybody out there?
Yeah. But yeah, I'll go through what I've got. I've got oily, creamy, fruity again. I've got a little bit of spiciness. Kind of fresh cut pineapple, possibly banana, a lemon kind of citrusness, a little bit of hay. But yeah, it's just there's something there, maybe like hay, straw, barley, or something malty. I don't know. Yeah. And I feel like it's almost just as I'm talking, it's almost what's that guy named Richard Patterson? I'm not trying to be like him. It's almost chewy. It's beautiful.
And I tried it. Well, I sometimes sort of describe them as almost being fizzy. It almost is a fizzy thing on your. Not obviously it's not fizzy, but you know what I mean.
Aye. It feels like there's a lot of texture to it.
Aye, 100%. Sorry, Donner Pass Whiskey. Tim, good evening. Is in.
Good evening.
No, that's there's a.
Aye, for me, I don't know. Even it's weird now because I was saying it felt clean and crisp on the nose, but now it feels like it's got a little bit of a bite to it. I don't know. Maybe not a bite, but a little bit of.
Obviously, Menno's on the Richard Patterson there.
Yeah, chuck it on your bed.
That was the biggest waste of whiskey I ever saw. I know I have a lot of respect for Richard Patterson.
I don't know. I mean,
well, a certain amount of respect for Richard Patterson. I mean, he does work for Dalmore, but
yeah. I mean, I've done it with cheap whiskies, but whether it changes nah.
No,
this isn't my bed. This is actually the spare room bed. And as I was joking to Jim earlier, it's seen a lot more action. Yeah, I feel like there's a bit. Well, I don't know if it's a kick, but I feel like there's just something a bit more. I don't know, more texture at least.
It's more alive than the 2007.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it. You're probably right.
You know, it's brighter. It brings more. It's just. It even feels. It's not that spirity thing that was in the 2007. Isn't here at all. So it's balanced better. You know, it's not. He's got his blend right here 100% for me. You know that everything's just.
So this is it's the same again. It's bourbon. It's 12-year-old. This was bottled in 2019 instead of 2020. Various casks. 1,760 bottles instead of 1,690.
Mm-hmm.
So they're almost the exact same whiskey, really. Same bourbon, obviously different casks, but they're still bourbon. And I think, if I'm right in saying, it's just the difference between when the barley was grown. I might be wrong. Maybe it's when I don't know. I don't know why it's winter and why it's summer. I can only assume that it's when the barley was maybe cropped. Or
can I get into a bit of it? This might go on to a bit of a debate, which I don't want it to do. So, but I'm gonna bring it up anyway.
Right. Well, I hate Irish whiskey.
I'm gonna no, I don't give a fuck what you think about Irish whiskey. I'm gonna actually add a little more to this, just because I like that, because it's a sample. I always like to try them whatever way I can. Here's what I'm going to bring up. We during that Belfast Whiskey Week last week, Paul and co behind Belfast Whiskey Week, and if I can, I'm actually going to try and keep you, because there would be tiny samples, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to try and separate them for you. And what Paul did was an experimental cask thing,
right?
And the reason why I'm bringing this up is questions have been raised recently about the effect of wood versus the new make spirit. You know, about how much wood influence there is on new make spirit, and what Paul did was, and you're going to enjoy this as a Scot, you will enjoy this.
Brilliant.
Because Paul behind the Belfast Whiskey Week, or one of the main guys behind is a Scot, right. And he took 4 Hungarian oak casks, tiny casks,
right,
and he seasoned them each. The first one with, now let me get this right, rum, right? Seasoned it for 3 weeks with rum. The second one with blue WKD.
Sure, Phil will help you. Oh my God, right?
The third one with iron brew.
Brilliant.
Right? And the fourth one with gin. So after 3 weeks, he emptied all those out and then filled them with Buckfast.
Right.
Now, I'm sure you're well aware of what Buckfast is.
There's a saying in Scotland. I won't say the word because it's quite rude, but Buckfast makes you fast. Hump, another word for hump. It's the F-bomb, yeah. Buckfast makes you. Yeah, right. Anyway, I know what Buckfast is, yeah.
So and then and when he emptied the 4 of the 3 weeks, and Phil has put it up here, as I say, rum, gin, WKD, iron brew, and then Buckfast. After 3 weeks, emptied the Buckfast out of them, so he seasoned them,
right,
and then he put in cask strength,
new make,
North Coast of Ireland whiskey. So we'll not name the, because we're not
naming it,
but it was cask strength. It was 13-year-old cask strength whiskey. And what I'm going to do is send you wee samples of each, because what he did was Belfast, he put out samples of the Buckfast itself after it had been seasoned. And let me tell you, mate, it is incredible, the difference between them. Oh, absolutely incredible. But why I was telling you this was, and the reason why I was bringing it up was, and sorry, Greg's Whiskey Guide, yes, WKD is a
it's like
Alcopop, basically.
Yeah, Alcopop. There we go, Alcopop. I was gonna say it's something the kids drink that's alcohol.
Yeah, it's basically Alcopop.
It's Alcopop, yeah.
Low alcohol, blue flavored.
Yeah. Basically all the e-colors and some alcohol.
Basically. But it was now, in fairness, these were small casks, so they influenced very, very quickly.
Yeah, quite active.
But it was the flavor that they brought. The gin one, it raised the question: was it gin flavored whiskey or whiskey flavored gin?
Oh, really?
It was incredible and it just, what it brought to my mind, what it made me think was these. I think that distilling's a hard enough job,
Yeah,
because making new make spirit is a hard enough job on its own.
yeah,
But it's what you have to take into consideration after that. That you've got 3
yeah,
years that you have, that you can't make it. You can't step in that 3 years and go, "Oh well, here we'll do this, we'll do that."
yeah. It's got to
Pretty
be,
much, yeah. It's that's those rules have already been set in stone, and then after that you can start and finishes and etc. And but it made me realize that it's a much bigger job, and what Francis is doing here at Daftmill, then
yeah. I mean,
between those 2 years, like,
yeah. I think. Well, it's a year. It is a year.
oh
One
sorry,
was,
yeah,
yeah, one was bottled in 2019, one was bottled in 2020, 2007, 2008, which is funny because the 2007 is still 12-year-old and the 2008 is still 12-year-old. But it's crazy to think how he's managing to get it right almost. I don't know
mm-hmm.
if it's trial and error almost. If you have a couple of casks and you put the spirit in there, you mature it for a while and then you taste it like, nah, that's crap. We'll either put it in another cask or just bugger it off if it's that bad. Honestly, I don't know the ins and outs of it. I'd love to be a geek and know exactly how they do it. But I mean, I've like, I don't know if you know, recently I bought my own cask and I don't know how that's
Right.
going to work because I've got no clue of, like, oh, I should have put in this cask. Is that a good cask or not? Like, how do you know? But the only way I'm going to do it is just if it tastes good to me, then that's
Mm-hmm.
all I'm really bothered about. So I think maybe I mean it'll be good to see those samples with the Buckfast, the Wicked, and that. That'll
No, I
be.
will, as I say,
I'm
and
honestly, I'm so grateful and happy for that. That's brilliant because
just
I think I did try and get involved and watch some of the Belfast Whisky Week, but I didn't actually see that. I didn't even know about it.
I ended up part of it, and I wasn't. I
I
wasn't.
saw that playing instruments. The Thin Lizzy,
Yeah.
was it?
Oh no, but it wasn't that. I ended up actually on the live stream talking about
Oh, did you?
because it wasn't. Remember I was chatting to you on Friday about how hungover we were from Thursday
Oh
night,
yeah,
both of
yeah,
us, and from different events. And I just happened to Phil from Causeway Coast had posted that here's today's lineup for the Belfast Whisky Week, and this was on
yeah.
Friday, and I thought, ah crap, I thought that was tomorrow because I was lined up for the to
Right.
for my boxes on the Saturday, and sorry, and I says,
Sorry.
"Oh, you're right. I just got a message from somebody there that I'll get back to you in a minute about that." And he Paul contacted me and says, I just happened to say something, and Paul contacted me and went, "Here, do you want to come on to the live feed?" And I went, "Aye, hold on," because I was sitting in my dressing gown with the sweat pissing out, down with a hangover. And I thought, well, I better go and change that up first. So I come back on, and there was me, as I say, suffering a little. And before I knew it, I was back into the whiskey again, trying to and
That
go
would have
through.
helped though.
Well, yeah, again, what he did have us going through was new Scottish distilleries.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
Uh,
Yeah, I saw
oh, brilliant, brilliant! Real, to get to try the likes of that Strathern, etc. Because I'm a big fan of Douglas Lang, so I
yeah,
was really interested to see what they're going to do with their own stuff.
yeah. Yeah, Douglas Lang, what they're producing is always they always hit the mark. I've never really had a bad Douglas Lang. I'm pretty sure the only one that I didn't enjoy is it the Cauldron they do or the Gauldron?
The Gauldrons is the
Yeah, the
Campbelltown one.
Campbelltown one. That's the only one I didn't
I've
enjoy.
actually yet to try it, but I've never heard a great thing about it. And
Ah,
Even Big Pete, I'm not a fan of because I just think it's not as good as the sum of its
proper.
parts.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. But I mean, I've had like the timorous, a couple of timorous beasties, a couple of rock islands or rock oysters, and they've always kind of hit the mark.
Oh, the rock oyster, like that rock oyster cast strength batch
Cash strength,
is
brilliant.
for me is just quality, like absolute quality. Sorry, before we move on, I'm going to wrap this very, very quickly. Bud Jenkins has asked the question. Bud, I think it's going to be put out to YouTube, the repeats of Belfast Whisky Week. From what I can tell, they were having a baller because of what it is and whatnot. Getting it wrapped up and getting it brought back is quite difficult, but they will be putting all the feeds out to YouTube, I think. I'm going to go through here, Stuart, because I'm going to wrap this up in a second. And just first of all, I'm going to say thank you to you, but I'll get back to that. I've got a few people arguing the fact that the Goldrins is their favorite. I haven't tried the Goldrins. I will actually at some point, just because I want to. But they aim the price a bit high on the Goldrins, and they keep it quite select, as in they always seem there's certain batches of it. Keep it, that. So I've looked at buying it, and yet again, I like Campbelltown whiskies as they are. I like them in their individual parts. So, like, I mean, I've never been in a massive panic to go out and buy the Goldrins.
I mean, I might have had a bad experience because it was the Whisky Festival in Edinburgh. I tried like the Epicurean. I tried them all kind of side by side. But I think I'm pretty sure the Goldrin was the first one I went to, and I just it wasn't for me. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Glen Scotia, so I'm not sure because it was blended with Glen Scotia or what. But then I have got some Campbelltown blends from Donnock Distillery, Thompson Bros. So hopefully they're good. It might just be a thing that I'm the same. I prefer Springbank and Glen Scotia on their own and not mixed together. I don't know.
No, fair enough. Listen, I'm going to wrap this up, Stuart, because I don't like to go on too long. Will you stay there so as we're going to have a wee chat afterwards?
I shall. I've got whiskey poured for it.
Happy days. Well, listen, I honestly can't thank you enough, Stuart. I always enjoy talking to you. The crack has always been good. You and I have only ever just taken the piss out of each other, I think.
I mean, that's. I feel like that's. I know you and Phil have said it before, but I feel like that is the Scottish way, and I feel like it definitely with the Celtic Brothers, Ireland, maybe Wales, but I feel like that's the way the best way to get friends with someone is take the piss out of them and see how far you can push them.
100%. And look, everybody that was in here tonight and joined us, can't thank you enough. I really can't. The chat has been going on here, and maybe you know yourself, it's very hard to get involved in the chat whenever you're especially exactly. It's hard to keep up. It's the problem.
You don't want to be
exactly. I find that my eyes are just darting everywhere all the time.
Yeah. But, I get issues with my contacts late at night as well, so I'm always like blinking trying to.
I understand that one, but here, honestly, mate, thank you so much for joining me. And
no bother at all.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, everyone.
So yes, as I say, I'm back, and I'm back. I'm quite happy to be back. I really am. It's great. I've missed you. I have, because the chat's good, the crack's good, and it was so nice to have so many of you in here. I'm sure there's an awful lot of people in here that I imagine are missing being in live chats at the minute, and you know who I'm talking about. But for now, I'm just going to say, look, thank you again. I'll be back in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully with somebody else. I haven't looked that far forward, but I would like to thank you all for being here, and see you in a couple of weeks then. Cheers. Good night.